Everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Rhonda's over there. It's always so good to be with Rhonda, and she is one of my teachers who taught me how to do Reiki. So when you feel me sending it at you, she's the one who taught it to me. And we have our guest today is Kara, and I'm so excited about it. But first, share the show out. Go to YouTube, put a like on it, subscribe, and share this to people who might want to see it because today we are going to get a full moon cosmic energy report. Yeah, I was going to say support, but yeah, the support of the energies. So you know what I mean. So come on in. I've spread out the sage for everyone, and we're so happy to have our family here with us. And so, Kara, we've known each other for a long, long time, but I have not kept touch. So I am so excited to catch up with you. How you doing?
Thank you for having me, Teresa and Rhonda. It's been so nice to be connected with both of you over the years. And I know you were both just sharing, this is like 6 years you've been doing this show now, and I think it's so amazing. It was probably about a year ago since I've been on. So I am so happy to be here today and on the Leo full moon. So I have so much goodness to share about this energy and just an overview of the cosmic energies for the month ahead, because February really is a game-changing month. Like, I feel a lot of people may already be feeling the acceleration of the energy that's happening right now, and really also offering us this transition because March is an extremely powerful month. So this is a perfect time for us to have this gathering and to talk about manifesting in this energy for sure.
Oh man, that's excited. I love hearing this stuff already. I have a few questions to start with. First of all, before I forget my manners, share with everybody who you are because you're so amazing in things, and I want them to know where to find you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So my name is Kara. I'm an Akashic Astrologer. So I work within the realm of the Akashic Records. I also certify other people in this incredible modality, and I combine that with astrology. And a big focus of mine is helping the lightworkers and healers of the world get their message out there, get their sacred work out there, and receive abundantly for it. So part of that is helping people co-create with cosmic intelligence. So knowing how to work with their unique energetic signature and their unique blueprint for success. So again, a big part of that is the astrology. And then I know both of you are, of course, very familiar with the records too. That may have been how we initially met.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Through Emily and that certification process. So we know, like, going through the records, you also connect with your blueprint for success as well. And you really gain insight on your unique journey of the soul. So I love helping people return to that, because that's where our magic is. When we are in alignment with our karmic path, when we are honoring our soul gifts, there's just so much power and beauty in that.
Wow, it really is. I totally got a card this morning. I pulled one of Diana Cooper's unicorn cards. It was telling me that I needed to go back and look at my divine blueprint because there's some things I'm basically living it small instead of hitting some of these things. And so by looking at the blueprint, I was starting to activate it again. And this is what you do, though. I mean, how special on someone's journey to help them in those moments like that. I mean, amazing.
Thank you, Teresa. And I love that that card came up for you today. How synchronistic is that, right? Of course, so. Well, we were having that conversation. Yeah. And it is true. I think sometimes we feel, or we hear people say, like, oh, we don't have a map for this lifetime. But I feel accessing our records and knowing about our unique astrology does give us a lot of guidance on our path. And it helps us understand the different initiations that we move through in life. So it's such a game changer when we may be feeling a certain way, whether we're feeling frustrated or we're in a time of transition, and we can understand how we are growing during that time. Or we can look at our astrology and see that, oh, this is actually a portal of opportunity for my healing and expansion. It just really puts it all in perspective in such a supportive way.
Yeah, beautiful. Sorry about that. That's beautiful. So here's my question, just because I want to be able to see it clearer in my mind. how does the Akashic Records and the astrology fit? Like, you're in the realms of all possibility, and that's where you start looking for your answers, or how do they complement each other?
Yeah, I love that, Teresa. So how I see the records, and I always tell my students this as well, it's like any modality you have, I feel you can take that into the Akashic space and just take it to new levels of understanding. So even with like studying the chart today for the Leo, I love to look at it from the realm of the records because I find it just brings even more clarity and guidance in terms of how to work with these what I also find with astrology is it's a way to kind of anchor it in. So when we're in the Akashic field, we're in that energy and we can begin to explore and ask for guidance on our soul gifts, our blueprint. And then I find the astrology really anchors it all in. So we can actually pull up our birth chart or a chart for new moon, full moon, or any given day or time. We can pull up a chart and then it gives us the visual of the energy. So I think it's the same energy we're connecting with. It's just different ways to look at it and see it.
One of the early books I read so many years ago, before I was even awakening, had to do with it was a numerology book, and it was saying that the three things that the belief in reincarnation, so basically the Akashic records and the information and wisdom there, and the healing, along with the healthy belief and the astrology and what's going on, along with the fine tuning of the numerology, right?
I love that. Yeah, I find they all play together, and I'm not overly familiar with numerology, but I do like when I see that the energies, which of course makes sense, intertwine. So if you listen for like the astrology for the month ahead, and then you listen to the numerology, I always find there's crossover. And of course, because again, I think it's the same energy. It's just different ways of understanding it and looking at it.
Wow. Ooh, it's so exciting. I love all this stuff. That's cool. You got any questions there, Rhonda? I see you busy.
Sorry. No, I was busy sharing out, so I am listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm an accountant. I can do 3 things at once. What I was wondering, when you're in the space of the Akashic Records, do you get messages that kind of contradict what, like the old study should say, or something that gives you a different
Good question.
Gives you a different twist on what's going on? Or is it more like when you're doing I assume you do astrology for clients, so that would give them how that affects them in a certain way too, right? Differently than.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and it does bring in even new information with astrology for sure, because I find there's always like with these energies, there's a higher timeline, or often the wording that's used is like the higher octave of the energy or the lower octave. And the records is really good at showing us what's the highest timeline for this energy. So even to give the example with like the Leo full moon today and the Leo archetypal energy, in the highest timeline, it's about heart-centered leadership. It's about really leading from that place of love, and there's this playfulness to it. But in the lower octave, it could be we need that external validation. Instead of being led by the heart, we're stuck in the ego, and we need other people to give us that validation instead of having it come from within. So the records even bring more clarity on how we can work with the energies that are at play at this time on the planet in a way that serves our evolution and ascension. So that's where I find it brings it a step further than maybe just studying the astrology and using it maybe to be a victim or be overwhelmed. And instead, it's like, how is this serving us? How can we work with this in the highest timeline? And yeah, there's so much power in that. And instead of feeling like overwhelmed by the energies, it's like, well, how is this supporting me? How is this supporting the expansion, not only in my life, but for the planet as well?
I so love that, because it is all these energies. You can look at them as like, oh wow, well I might as well not try anything. It's Mercury retrograde or whatever. But no, within all that, I could see, and it's such a beautiful woven tapestry of how everything is centered on ways to get us to bubble up and release what we need, just so we can get to our truer selves, right?
So true, Teresa. Yeah, beautifully said. And that's such a good example with Mercury retrograde, because a lot of people say, oh, Mercury's retrograde, we're going to have communication mishaps or tech mishaps. And Mercury does govern that. So it's not like that's not a thing. But I find on a deeper level, Mercury retrograde is a time where we're really reflecting on our belief systems, our values, where we may be revisiting old projects. So it's just a different way to work with that energy. And actually, when we came into this year in 2023, we started the year with a Mercury retrograde and a Mars retrograde. So and I'd love to hear, Rhonda and Teresa, you felt this as well, kind of like a slower start to the year and very reflective energy where we were still kind of putting closure on the themes of last year. And that's why I love this month, because it's like, things are actually moving forward. Mercury is now direct. All planets are direct. We're in this movement. It
actually didn't feel like beginning of a new year.
Yeah. I kind of felt that too, Rhonda, and I think that energy was in the collective. It was almost like, is this really a new year? Like a very, very kind of slow momentum. And again, I think it served us in really looking at, okay, what do I want from this year? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to create? But also, how do I want to feel as I move into this year? So it really gave us that time, I think, to be more in that reflective mode of what we want to experience in the year ahead. And now this month, it's like, okay, now we're really getting clear around what we desire to create. And beginning the month, like where we are now, we also have a lot of fixed energy. So we have Aquarius, the sun is in Aquarius right now. The moon today, the full moon in Leo, they're both fixed energies. And the fixed energy is really good for persisting toward our goals and achieving things that we want to create. So it is like the energy really is beginning to build up at this time. And it is a good time to look at what are the projects that I may have put on the back burner or that I've been finding it hard to get motivated with. We can really harness this energy to begin moving forward.
Yeah, do you see that question?
Yeah, so I studied with Emily Harrison, and that's where I met these two beautiful ladies, and I absolutely love Emily. And yeah, and that was years ago now where we connected, and I worked within the realm of the records for years before now having my own certification as well. And something that I do in the records that I was actually shown from that space that I find so unique is connecting people to the blueprint of their business. So, you know how everything has a record, like each human being has a record, crystals, animals, every living being has a record, and our business does as well. So in the records, I was actually showing that my business has a unique blueprint. And the more I connected to that energy, the more I saw expansion in my business. So that's one of the things I love to bring to other healers and light workers is let's connect with that blueprint for you, because that's where your magnetism is. That's where you look at, this is the message that I'm called to be a channel for in the world. These are the gifts that I'm called to share. And it's just, yeah, it's been amazing. Like I find we all get downloads from the records around like the path we're meant to take with it. And that was one that was really strong for me as like working with it within my business. And it's beautiful because I think especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, our business is that vessel for our soul's growth and evolution. Like it'll call us to step out of our comfort zone, to face our fears. And like, it's such a big part of our growth, just the process of growing our business.
So, go ahead, Rhonda.
I was just going to ask.
We're echoing.
Yeah. Just give me that. Let's see if that works. Sorry. There. Does that sound better? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly.
Sorry, just a little technical. It's not Mercury retrograde. It's just me. So tonight's full moon is in Leo. If you have your moon in Leo, does that make a difference as well? speaking from somebody who has a moon in Leo, of course.
Are you a moon in Leo, Rhonda? And you're in Aries, right? Aries sun, moon in Leo. So you got double fire energy. From what I remember, you're in Aries, right?
Oh my God, you've got a good name. Yeah.
It's so funny when it comes to astrology. I tend to just like, I remember people's information, their birth charts for sure. Yeah. So whether or not we have planets in Leo, we are all still experiencing this energy. If you do have a moon in Leo, what that means is it's also your lunar return. So every month we all have a lunar return because the moon travels through each of the zodiac signs. So when it reaches the sign that it was in at the time of our birth, that's called our lunar return. So it is very powerful that it's happening at the time of the full moon for you. So anyone that has planets, like this full moon is happening at 16 degrees of Leo. So anyone who has any planets near that sign, that's going to be influenced with this energy. Or in astrology, we call it like an 8-degree orb. So within 8 degrees of that 16-degree mark, if there's planets there, you're going to really feel that. It's going to, modify how you experience this energy. But even if you don't have planets there, for all of us, like this really is, full moon's always a time of releasing. So it's a great time to look at what am I letting go of? Because full moons do act as amplifiers. So anything that's happening under the surface, at the time of a full moon, we feel it strongly. And this is why emotions can run really high, right? At the time when they have speaking, and especially where it's in like a fire energy, Leo being a fixed fire sign, there's a lot bubbling to the surface now, and it is important that we are moving energy. And there's so many ways that we can do that, but if people are listening and maybe they're like, oh, I'm feeling some frustration or I'm just feeling a lot of energy, it's really important we allow that to be moved and expressed at this time. And this could be through exercise. This could also be through energy techniques that you use. Like I love to work with tapping, EFT, to like move the energy. There's so many ways we can do that, but it is important that energy is being processed and moving through us right now. Now we're not holding on to it, right? That it's not staying stagnant in our body.
No, because like anything, if it's stagnant, it creates different charges in your body, like different things, whether it's good or bad. Too much energy in certain, you're supposed to run all the time your energy to refresh it, and if it doesn't, then it can create dis-ease in your body, or not ease. So a moon in Leo, it just seems to me I'm more energetic right now than I was in the last moon. But I mean, that could be physical, but it seems also mentally I'm more energetic than I was. And I don't know if that's a normal thing for a moon in Leo. Leo creates an energy that's different than other energies.
Oh, it definitely does. And that's where we can take our understanding to a new level when we bring in astrology, because we know full moons are amplifiers, right? So they're also actually a time to celebrate, which is important to remember. We think of it as a healing and releasing time, which it is. And equally as important is celebration. And the sign that the moon is in does paint the energy field for it. So in Leo, overall, it is more of an extroverted energy than maybe a more reserved energy like a moon in Cancer or even a moon in Pisces. It is very fiery. Now, also what is interesting though is for each of us to just observe how we emotionally respond to the moon changes. Because your response, Rhonda, to a moon in Leo may be different than someone else's, because well, for many reasons, but from an astrological standpoint, it can be our birth chart is different. So where this is happening in our birth chart is unique for each of us. What is being activated in our chart is unique. So there's many different factors that can come into how we experience it. But overall, Leo is an extroverted energy, and it is this invitation to invite more play and pleasure into our life as well. Leo is very connected to our inner child, and it reminds us to not take everything so seriously and to really infuse more of that like playful, creative energy into our life. And I think I talked about the leadership element as well. And the highest expression, Leo is the ultimate leader. It's just like leading from this heart-centered space of like love and power that is rooted in the energy of love. And again, for all of us, whether you're a Leo or not, we're all feeling this energy now. So we can all reflect on, how can I add more play into my life? What does that mean? Am I creatively expressing myself? What does that mean and look like for me at this time? How am I leading myself in my own life? Or for maybe other business owners, how am I leading myself in my business? But we can all ask that in areas of our life, right? How we're in that leadership energy. So all really good questions to reflect on at this time. And what's also adding to like this full moon being so dynamic is when we look at the aspects of it. And I know you mentioned this earlier,
Oh,
Teresa.
the aspects. Yeah. Here we go. Powerful.
It is, and that adds to our understanding as well. So the main aspect with this full moon is a square to Uranus. And Uranus is very dynamic. It's the awakener. It's about shaking up our routine, moving out of our comfort zone, and it is now direct as well. So a square aspect to this moon is like, that's a lot of energy. And it really is a time to look at as well, how are we stepping out of our comfort zone? And we all hear this, right? We all know, okay, that's where growth happens, that's where evolution happens. But to be able to do that, we also have to know how to relax our body and nervous system so we feel comfortable, right? Stepping out and trying something new.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That's why I decided to invite people over. I haven't done that in a long time. No, I just feel that there's a whole different energy with this full moon. And I guess I felt that before. Like I even got my taxes done yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. Maybe that's why I'm feeling so good today. But I just find that the moon energy is different every full moon. I mean, I do feel that difference. Sometimes they just tire me out. Sometimes they energize me. Sometimes I really want to do a lot of releasing. Other times, like it's like a non-event, and I don't know, right? Like even if it's covered with clouds, I still kind of know it's there, right?
Oh, absolutely, you feel it.
Now, do the
watching my
comets have
cat.
anything to do with anything in the astrology? Comets, like the comet that's going through our.
Oh, yeah.
Does that have any bearing on anything? I know it was here 50,000 years ago, so I can't quite remember it.
Back when we were Neanderthals.
Right? It's been a long time, yeah. Well, yeah, I think like we're all interconnected. So we do feel these shifts, right? When something's happening in the cosmos, we're not separate from that. We are so connected. So all of these things, we feel that energy and we feel that movement for sure. And it's, I know a lot of people will talk about solar flares that can happen as well, right? And even if we're not studying the astronomy or the astrology around it, intuitively we tend to feel when there's something shifting or there's something happening, because we are, we're part of the universe. We're part of this energy, and it's not outside of us, it's within us as well. So we each process it differently, but it definitely plays a role in what's happening. And I think the more we can be conscious of that and also look at, how do I want to co-create with this energy? That's a powerful question to ask as well. So again, we're never a victim to it, but we're honoring how we feel and then looking at, how do I want to use this to create in my life at this time? And there's a lot happening that is supporting that shift and that ascension on the planet with these energies. Like, it's really incredible. And I know a lot of people are intuitively feeling that too. Like, wow, the vibration of this planet has been shifting, and that's just accelerated right now with these cosmic shifts for sure.
Yeah, exciting times coming, huh?
Right, so much, yeah. Yeah, so I'd love to talk to you. I can share more about kind of how the energy shifts throughout the month, but if anyone
because it's Valentine's Day coming up, the love, and a family day in Canada, so there's a lot of focus on love for February and relationships. So how do you think it's going to, what's the energy for that?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting. We have, like, again, the Leo full moon is connected to the heart, right? That is about love and compassion. And then what happens as we move throughout the month? So on the 19th, we have the sun moving into Pisces, which is very different from Aquarius season. So any of the signs that are next to one another, they're expressed very differently. So Aquarius season, which is where the sun currently is, that's very much about the visionary energy. It's an air sign as well. So it's very much the intellect, the ideas and vision we have for this planet, but from a very intellectual space, right? Which is beautiful. And then as the sun moves into Pisces, it's more of a feeling, again, the heart, the love, our intuition, our emotional world. And Pisces is a water sign, so we really feel a marked shift on the 19th, and then we have the new moon on the 20th. I believe it's the 20th. Got my calendar. Yeah, the 20th.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Is the new moon in Pisces. So right after the sun moves in, we have the new moon in Pisces as well. So we feel that shift mid-month where we move, again, more into the heart space. It really is a loving energy. The Piscean energy is about trusting our intuition. And it's also about learning to surrender. So beginning the month, there's a lot of this fixed energy of like persisting toward our goals, having deeper clarity on what we want to create for the year ahead. And then Pisces is about, can we surrender and trust that it's all coming together, that it's all happening, and we don't have to do it all on our own. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. So it really is that surrendering and that trust that I'll do my part, but the universe can also help me in this co-creative dance. So there's a definite shift as we move into the end of the month. But Pisces, like speaking of that love, like it's all about love and compassion. How can we be more loving and more compassionate in our life? How can we honor our emotions, but again, not allow our emotions to control us? Because like you had said, Rhonda, energy is meant to flow, right? Same with emotions. Emotions are meant to flow. And if they stay trapped in our body, that's where we have different physical ailments or emotional instability or just something feeling off, right? So we want that energy to flow, and we want to recognize that emotions come and go as well.
What I was going to ask is, it's a super new moon on the 20th. What's the difference between a super new moon and a regular new moon, or a super moon? Is that just a magnification because it's closer to the earth at that time?
Exactly. Yeah, it appears a little closer. Although with new moons, what's happening there with the aspect is it's conjunct the sun. So obviously we never see the new moon. And where the full moon is, if it's clear, we can see it in the sky. The new moon, it is closer, so we tend to feel the energies a little bit more. So there is that amplification. But new moons are all about intention setting, right? So where the full moon is like that releasing and the clearing, the new moon is setting our intention. So what do we desire to create? And where there's a conjunction between the sun and the moon at that time, it's a really good time to go within and really reflect on like how we're feeling, what we desire, because we live in a world where we can get so overwhelmed with the external noise or even just an abundance of information, which I think is a beautiful thing, but we also just need to step back and integrate and ask what we want. So Pisces new moon, this is more of like an introverted moon. So with the Leo energy, right, we're feeling like, Rhonda, you're saying you invited people over. It's very like extroverted. Let's get together, have fun, connect, celebrate. The new moon in Pisces is a little more quiet. It's a good time to really go in and reflect and just connect on what you're needing, how you're feeling, how your intuition is speaking to you at this time. So it's a lot of beautiful energy there. And Pisces is also a mutable energy. So we're beginning the month with that fixed energy, and then we move into the mutable. And the mutable is also about going with the flow. So it can be looking at where we may be too rigid in our life or being too stuck on things have to look this way for me to feel good. Or this is the plan I had and I have to follow it step by step. And the mutable energy is about just taking a step back and looking at what do I need to adjust? What do I need to change? And I think that's just so important as well, right? Because sometimes even in our spiritual practices, we can become so rigid with them that they lose their magic.
And that's about moving energy too. Changing up our spiritual practice a little bit all the time moves the energy in that practice too, I think. Right?
Totally.
I love that. I was reading too that we are right in the middle of from the last eclipse and then to the next one, like in May and I don't remember all the dates. And so all that big shifting that we're doing is really picking up right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And February as well is really like we are feeling energy, like you said, Teresa, really picking up. But I also see it as it's like a transitioning month because when we move into March, we have some big planetary shifts. So yeah, which is exciting though. So Saturn is going to be moving into Pisces. Saturn spends about 3 years in every sign. So it is quite significant when it's moving. So it's like the new moon in Pisces at the end of the month is paving the way for Saturn to move into the sign. And where Pisces is all about going with the flow and it's like our intuition, Saturn is about structure. So this really is when we talk about spirituality, it's like practical spirituality. How we anchor in our spiritual practice is like day to day, how our spirituality isn't something that's separate from our physical self. Like that's kind of an initiation we're all going to be moving through in the next few years. We're going to see big changes in that. More people stepping up and even beginning their spiritual businesses with Saturn and Pisces. Like we're already feeling that shift. It's going to take off like, big time in the next few years with that.
Awesome.
It's our energetic kick in the pants to get going, right?
Right. Yeah. Saturn always means business for sure. Yeah. And another big shift we have too that's coming up, and this one's really big actually, is we have Pluto. You may have heard it if you're following the astrology communities, moving into Aquarius. And that's huge because when these outer planets change signs like that, like that's kind of a shift in like the era. Like for all of us, like we're entering a new time, and it is it's gonna retrograde back into Capricorn for a bit before it continues in 2024. But we're getting a taste of that in February when it moves into Aquarius, and that really is again accelerating the ascension that we're feeling on the planet. When you hear people talk about these 5D energies that are anchored in, like it's ushering all of that in a new way. So that is huge. So it's like February is prepping us for March when we're going to have these big shifts. And March is also when the sun moves into Aries. That's the astrological new year as well.
Yeah, I was hearing somebody talk about how New Year is like New Year's isn't really in January. It is in March, and like the way the calendars go, the New Year starts in the spring and it should end in the winter. But for some reason, they decided to put New Year's in January. When you have September, which means the 7th month, October means the 8th month, November means the 9th month, and then December means the 10th month. So really, January should be the 11th month, and February should be the 12th month, and March should be the 1st month, which really makes more sense. Like spring starts, like the sun starts off in a different thing. So.
Absolutely, Rhonda. Yeah. And from the astrological perspective, it is, right? March 21st, when we have the sun moving into Aries, really is like that astrological new year because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So again, there's just so much movement that's coming up in March. And I think intuitively, like people are feeling it this month. I've even had so many of my clients say like they don't study astrology, but intuitively they're like, wow, like things are picking up. I feel like big changes happening. I'm finally getting some energy and momentum back. So I've just seen the comments, spring is birth. Yeah, it's like that rebirth energy that we all feel coming up. So even though, energies are accelerating and it's like the calendar new year, from an astrological perspective, we're still in a cycle and season of like, we're closing off certain chapters of our life. So we may still even be feeling some of that reflective energy, especially with these big shifts of Saturn and Pluto. Like this is bringing closure, right? Saturn to like in the last 3 years of our life. What are we now moving into? Pluto, I believe it was 2008. It hasn't changed signs since 2008. So this is a big shift, right? It's like a big cycle, not just for our individual lives, but for the collective energies and what we're stepping into right now. Like it's big for the planet and really kicking off the Aquarian age, which is the time of the people. And it is a time where we see big shifts happening on the planet in terms of the structures and systems that govern us. When we really are getting into like Pluto and Aquarius, we're seeing those changes take place in a new way because Pluto is all about transformation and Aquarius is the sign of the visionary, right? It's the sign of people coming together in unity to create a new world.
Yeah, I love that. I'm thinking of the Fifth Dimension song right now.
Yeah,
The
me
Ava
too.
Aquarius. Yeah, it's like, oh, I can hear that.
Yeah, yeah, you and me, Teresa. We'll just play. Yeah.
I love that.
So, Kara, have you got any workshops coming up or anything like that coming up shortly?
Yeah, so yeah, always the exciting things going on for sure. So anyone that's into astrology, on my YouTube channel every week I do cosmic energy readings. So it's kind of like an overview of the month, but there's readings every week to really just look at, okay, like what's the week ahead and what are the energies we are creating with. And then also on my Instagram, I'm always sharing little updates as well, like the energy around the full moon, the new moon for the week ahead, all of that stuff, or just channel guidance from the records. And I do also have doors open now to my Akashic certification. So I'm enrolling new students in that as well. I know we're all certified in the records. Like, you can attest to what a game changer it
I
is.
think you were one of my certified people that I had this. Yeah, I read records for the certification.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, so I do have doors open for that, and I think you had the link to share that out as well. So that's really exciting to bring a new
Do it.
business to that. It's a game changer, just learning to tap into our records, work within the realm. And again, what's unique about what I do in this space is I help people connect to the blueprint of their business. So even if they don't yet have a business, but they would like to, it's also a beautiful opportunity to look at what are the gifts I'm here to share, and just starting a spiritual business by doing readings in the records or healing in the records for other people. It's really powerful. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
That's nice. Yeah, that's super. And so people can go to your links and find that. And yeah, you've got a great social media presence, and it's always so beautiful and tasteful, and your pictures.
You're always a goddess, is what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I have fun with it. I always love to share these updates that just support people, right? I think more than ever, like light workers are stepping up and they're feeling that call to share their gifts, and like we can feel alone at times in that, but we don't have to. There's so many beautiful communities now that we can be a part of and recognize like there's other people that share a similar vision for this planet. There's other people that will cheer us on, even if maybe in our immediate life or our families, people don't understand us. There's our whole family and they get us. Yeah.
Yeah, big difference, huh?
True. So, Kara, I have a few questions for you because Bex is not here again today. Hopefully, she'll be in next week. She's just her scheduling and our scheduling is off, but she's always with us and we're always communicating. Yes. So, and she'll watch us and sending us all the best, and we're sending her the best today. So she hasn't gone away. She is here, and when she can be here, she is. So that's the great thing of having three of us. I won't be here next week. Teresa may be all by herself, so everybody has to come in and give Teresa support next week. But I have a question for you. Are you still working with gemstones and crystals? And have you got a new one that you're working with lately? Or have you found a new favorite? Or are you just working with your favorite? So let us know.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if I still have. I probably had this last time I was on. So this has been on my desk for years.
Yeah.
And I probably showed it last time. I've had this one for years with me. So it's actually one that went through my Akashic Records certification and was the crystal that I opened the records for. And I always just felt like it's meant to stay with me to do this work.
Oh, I love that.
Love it. So that's my all-time favorite. I have other crystals that are here too. I'm actually with crystals as well. I feel I've always been very intuitive with it. Like it's really not my core expertise, but I love them. I was actually with my Connor today. I'm like, we need to go crystal shopping for our living room. I want a new crystal here. So I love surrounding them. I have a crystal grid by my door when I enter my home, and that's what I'll do new and full moons. I'll feel into the energy and I create a new crystal grid to help anchor in my intention. So that's a practice people can do to help.
That's a great practice, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that does sound like fun.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. I have a crystal grid by my bed. I'll just have to rearrange it with this new full moon because actually the light from the full moon shines in on it. So it'll be good.
Yeah, well, and you can charge your crystals too. I used to do that. I know we're both, Rhonda and I are in the winter months here, so I don't always feel like taking my crystals and putting them outside, but that's another beautiful practice in the new moon energy, and to charge crystals. And we can keep them by a windowsill as well, charging them and then setting the intention. But yeah, doing the grids is a beautiful way to like lock in the energy, and then every time you see the grid, you're reminded of what you are manifesting, what you are creating. So I really like that energy, and I think ritual is so powerful for that. It just helps anchor in our intentions in a new way.
That's so true. Have you got a new theme song this year to go with all the new energy, or do you change it by moon by moon?
Theme songs. Oh, I love that. I love listening to. I've actually been listening to a lot of singing bowls lately on
nice.
YouTube. So there's a channel called Dynasty Electric. They're just beautiful, Dynasty Electric, and they do beautiful singing bowls. So I've been listening to that. I really like the high frequency hertz, or you can look up, right, like the H said. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the frequency. So I really love have those on even as I'm doing work, just to really like shift my frequency and energy. And you can get ones for the Akashic Records, abundance. Oh, thank you, Anne. Love you, goddess. So yeah, listening to different music like that is really fun, I think, and just helps keep our energy in a good place. So it's something I love to do. Even before bed at night, I'll often just put some of that music on to help like relax my body and shift my energy.
Yeah, I like playing it in the background, and I actually have it playing to my water that I drink every day.
Oh yeah.
Just on a little loop on one of those little iPods. An iPod. Yeah, I bet you guys don't have one of those anymore either. But yeah, I just have it playing to my music, and it's always kind of going low, and nobody complains unless because it's on just I think it's 528 usually hertz that I have it, so it just infuses the water in the kitchen with that energy in the house. So I think you can shift your energy, and you have them low playing in the background.
Oh, what a great idea to infuse that into the water too. I love that.
Because the water will hold that energy very easily. So, and then you drink it down and it comes into your body. So,
yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful practice.
So it makes my coffee less stressful when I drink it that way. It's good for me then. At least I tell myself that.
I love my coffee as well.
I 1 cup a day. I'm pretty good now. It's just 1 cup a day, but yeah, it's still 1 cup a day. And have you seen any UFOs lately? Just wondering, you're always looking up at the sky. I mean, you would always look up at the sky naturally, and people don't realize you probably live in a dark sky area too, close to a dark sky area, so you could see it.
I haven't lately, but I feel like I can tune into the energy of it.
Oh, nice.
Right, I was using like an energetic perspective, but yeah, I haven't. But again, I feel like energetically tuning into that. What I do always notice though is like I'll look up in the moon, and no matter what phase it's in, I'll be like, look at how beautiful the moon is. I'm always that person.
I gotta take a picture of it. Yeah.
Right? The camera never does it justice. Never captures it, right?
No, it never does. It's like looking at the sparkles on the snow. You never can quite catch it, or fireflies. You can't quite catch it.
Then I have a question for both of you then. This is crazy because when I was a little girl, and my grandma, she would always pay a lot of attention to the moon. And when I was staying the night at her house, she would have the bed in a position that while you're sleeping, the full moon would be shining in on you. And I swear, I would hear singing, like music from the moon. Have any of you all experienced that?
Ooh, I love that, Teresa. I love how connected your grandma was to that energy. I think it's like a frequency, right? Like we know everything's a frequency, and I feel maybe like you were interpreting it with the audio, like that's how you were able to bring it in. I think that's so beautiful.
Isn't there a poem? I see the moon and the moon sees me.
Yeah. My grandma would always she had a little doll. You know those dolls, you pull the little thing and then it talks until it goes back in? She would sing that, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. There is something special. Even my husband finds something special about the full moon. My aunt used to curse it because she could never sleep during the full moon. She goes, "It must be a full
That
moon."
energy. Wow.
And my mother-in-law, who worked in a psych hospital, she said, "Yeah, we always had to have extra people on,
The
and
lunatics.
when there was a full moon." And my nephew, who's a 6'6" policeman, he says, if people don't think the moon affects their energy, they haven't been a policeman.
Oh my goodness, it's true. It does. It affects our mood. I find even parents will notice that with their kids. They're more restless, or teachers. Like, oh, it totally does. Full moons are amplifiers, and that's why they're really great for releasing and healing. Like whatever's been kind of hidden under the surface, a full moon brings that to the light. So it's great to do that releasing, and that's why it's also great for celebration. And I always think like celebration and gratitude is that portal for expansion and growth as well. So another little takeaway for people with this full moon energy, really journal on what you are celebrating, what you are grateful for, and allow that energy to be amplified for you. We can so easily amplify things at times that aren't working or that we don't like, and instead just like amplify what's working. The angels singing, I love that.
Yeah,
Probably.
the angels probably sing at full moons. The fairies love the full moon, so
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Totally, that's
sense.
it too. I love
It's that
that.
celebrating that Kara's talking about, all this song and celebrating, right?
Oh, I love it. So true. Yeah, that celebration. Well, traditionally, that's when a lot of people would gather, right? Well, people still do new and full moons, but the full moon was just such like a celebratory time where we come together and honor that energy. And it can affect our sleep though too. I know, Rhonda.
I know it's so nice in the winter up here on full moons, and it's nice that the weather has changed on this full moon, because usually I say anytime it's a beautiful moonlit night, it's like -40 out, but now it's like going to be warm tonight. So I don't know if it'll be clear, but it'll be warm. And the sun, like it's almost like daylight. Like everything casts shadows when the snow's out, and it's beautiful. Particularly love full moons in the winter. It's so nice.
It's so peaceful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Judy Huffman's talking about the tides of the ocean and how it does. So of course it affects us.
I love that. Well, and it's true. Like we all know it affects the tides. So it's like, well, why wouldn't it affect us? We're made of water. But I think more and more people are awakening to this idea, right? Which is powerful and part of the ascension. More people are recognizing that. I even see astrology becoming more mainstream in the last couple of years. And I feel like Pluto and Aquarius, when we move in, like especially 2024, we're going to see that more and more, because Aquarius is also the sign of the astrologer. So Pluto moving in there, I think we're really going to see that taking off in a new way.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, Teresa, have you got any more things before I do our...
Yeah, well, I have a part of housekeeping too. I was going to say, when everybody tunes in next week, we'll have Lisa Winston on February 12th, and then on the 19th, we'll have Kim Van de Sandy. Both these ladies separately are artists. Well, they're both authors, and one's an artist and one's an Egyptian tour guide. So stay tuned for the next shows to come and check it out. That's awesome.
So we'll be crisscrossing the globe again, because we're so lucky. Last week we had from Spain, and now we've moved to Nova Scotia. And then where's Lisa? I can't remember. She out California?
I don't remember. I don't remember right now.
Down in the States. And then Kim, who's from in the Netherlands. So
Netherlands.
So it'll be cool. Yeah, we're across globe, and we're so happy that you're part of our global family.
Yes.
Sarah. And
thank you so much for having me. It's always so fun to connect with you ladies. It's been too long. We gotta do this more often.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. For sure. We'll have you in our cosmic report in the spring again or something.
Absolutely.
It's interesting with the equinox in the spring coming, how the energy shifts. It'll be very cool. And then there's Anne from the Faroe Islands, which I didn't even know existed until we met Anne. So love you too, Anne. That's a beautiful part of the world, the Faroe Islands. If you don't know where that is, it's north of Scotland, between Scotland, Denmark, and Iceland. So it's sort of all. You have to check out your atlas. Grab your atlas out and find it. So the winner of last week's Share It Out, or liking and loving and comments, is Megan Downs from the UK. And so we're going to be sending her a link for that. That'll be great. Thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate it. Just watching the two big ravens sweep in front of my window. So I get distracted. I can't help it. So it's an awesome to have you here, and I hope next time you're up visiting your mom, you'll come and see us. And
yes, we can connect in person again, right?
Wow, how exciting!
Yeah, we just found out we had a mutual friend, and then we went, wait, how did that happen? So
cool. All connected, right? I love it. Well, thank you for having me. This was so fun, and I really hope this served all your beautiful viewers and just giving them a feel for the energies of this month.
And we'll be looking through your Valentine's date pictures coming, because I know it'll be special. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you. So just check out her links in the bio. It's in there in the description. And I'm sorry that we have now. Facebook has changed the way StreamYard can broadcast, so it's always an event. But if you go inside the event, you can get the live, and then we try to re-put it on the live. But you can also catch us on the YouTube, and you can, if you want to, you can download the podcast, which will be available later this afternoon, and you can listen to that on your way to the car and hear all this information again. So please join us on one of those and give us a 5-star on the Apple Podcast or wherever you get them, because it helps us get the people to pick us out and enjoy what you're enjoying today. Thank you so much. And I'm going to
namaste.
Okay. So goodbye, everyone. See you next week.